A former Pilot Flying J sales executive may remain free on bond while her case is appealed. Judge Curtis Collier made the ruling for Heather Jones today. This comes after an appeals court ruled her co-defendants Mark Hazelwood and Scott Womble do not have to go to prison while their cases are reviewed. Last year, a jury convicted Jones, Hazelwood, and Womble of taking part in a scheme to cheat some Pilot fuel customers of promised rebates. During the trial, the judge agreed to let the prosecution play secret recordings on which Hazelwood, the former Pilot president, made racist remarks. The former employees argued the tapes shouldn't have been played. They're now appealing their cases.
Records reveal there have been